call the regular council meeting of April 6, 2015 to order, please. Roll call.
Neil.
Here.
Ralph.
Here.
Bill.
Yes.
Mary Jane. Here. And Kathy is absent.
If everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes, I need a motion to accept the minutes from the March meeting, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Neil.
Yes.
Ralph.
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Bill.
Yes.
Mary Jane. Yes.
I need a motion to approve the warrant payable timesheets, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bill.
Yes.
Mary Jane. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
Neil.
Yes.
Need a motion to approve the transfer of police revenue from the general fund to the police fund, please.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Neil.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Mary Jane. Yes.
I need a motion to approve the police fund monthly operating fund transfer, please.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Bill.
Yes.
Mary Jane. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
Neil.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve the interest transfer, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ralph.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Mary Jane. Yes. Neil.
Yes.
We'll skip on down. Since Susan's not here, we'll go to the committee reports. Safety chiefs on vacations. Oh, you got it?
New Paris Police Department, March 2015 activity report, calls for service 104, arrests made 3, citations issued 16, warnings issued 22. The automated external defibrillators are here, with 4 of them are here, and with 1 on the wall cabinet were received from Reed Hospital. On the radios, the new portable radios have been received from Motorola. They have not been placed into service yet due to the sheriff's office equipment is not ready yet. And I also have a letter here that I'd like to read from a citizen in the community. Dear Chief Driver, I am writing to pass along my sincere appreciation to your fine officers of the New Paris Police Department. As a citizen of the New Paris community, I am most proud of the officers under your fine leadership. Specifically, I recently required EMS at my residence due to a sudden illness. At the time of dispatch, our local EMS was out on another run, thus a squad from El Dorado was dispatched. Officer Hamilton arrived shortly after my call, has to direct the out-of-town medics to my home and inform me of unforeseen delay in medical assistance. Officer Hamilton helped comfort my young children while I contacted another family member to come to my home as I was transported to Reed Hospital. A few weeks prior, Officer Hamilton documented an open door complaint at my residence. On another occasion, Detective Atkins was dispatched to my home regarding a child visitation issue. Although police action is very limited in these sorts of matters, Detective Atkins wrote a very detailed report, obtained witness statements, and submitted the paperwork to others that needed the information. In my contacts with your officers, I have found them to be knowledgeable, dependable, efficient, and professional. I am impressed. Sincerely, Phil Smith, 301 South Washington Street. It's nice to hear something good from citizens in the community for a change. That's all I have for safety.
Thank you. Building.
Not really. We're holding up on the metal for the
Right.
bus barn until after we see what's going on here.
Okay, streets.
As you can see, Eddie started on it, but due to the fact that he's had to help out and work out in BPA on a lot of things, he hasn't had a chance to really stay on it completely. So he's trying. We'll get him there.
Lights.
As far as I know, all the lights are operable now. We had a couple of them that were out. I think Jim called and they taken care of that. I also have a couple of things on those lights. I don't know whether this will be under new business or while we're on lights, but the 2 streets up at Ridgeview and Pleasant that are end in a cul-de-sac. I've had inquiries from residents up there that would like to have a light installed up there. Village light like they have all light. Not a security light.
Security light.
But one that the village would, have control over like they do the rest of the street lights. Jane would give me a name of a party that I can call if council wants to pursue that any, I don't know cost figures yet. Didn't pursue it at all until I brought it to council to see whether there was any interest to add more lights up there. I guess we have a problem with it becoming a lover's lane from what I hear. They go back in there and park in that cul-de-sac, and I think the chief's had a couple of calls on it. He's not here, he can't verify that, but that's under new business or continuation of lights.
What's council's opinion on this?
Where's it?
They're
Ridgeview
and Pleasant, they're Cardinal Hill
Oh,
Edition.
yeah.
Top of the hill there. The one cul-de-sac is directly behind the water tower. I don't know whether Kevin or anybody, you guys had any problems up there with getting any grounds up around the water tower or anything like that?
Well, since it's a street in our village, in our community, and it's a safety factor to begin with, I don't see a reason why we should have street lighting up there on both streets. You do?
Well, I have no idea.
I mean, you're talking-
Move forward with it to see what the cost factors are too.
Absolutely, get with DP&L and say, hey, let's go over and see what we got.
I can tell you, Bob Stallman is the one that
Right.
we deal with all the time. I got his card, or I think James probably got his card on turn in the Rolodex also. I would suggest, he's the one that comes to us from DP&L Energy. I would.
He was a gentleman in the river tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
I would say he would be the one to make contact. Well, as far as the light, I don't think it's going to be the issue. I think the contact's going to be with DP&L over setting up a pole.
Correct. Right.
That's probably where the cost is probably going to be involved, and whether they would do that or not. But I would think that Mr. Stallman would be able to
Help you out on that.
point us in the right direction on that, if that's what the council chooses.
Since he also used to work for DP&L, he was the man that you dealt with.
Do we need that in a motion to move forward on checking it out?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'd like to make a motion if we could, that I could pursue that and get the information that I need to bring back to council as far as the cost factor is concerned.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mary Jane? Yes. Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Neil?
Yes.
Well, you're still talking about lights. Now that I think about it, when the light I mentioned there at the school, that's the light one there, that just needs turned back on as far as I know.
Yeah.
I don't know where the power of that power
Well,
comes
see,
from.
the
the
Power's
school,
been
but-
shut off to the school, all the schools.
So-
Power's been shut off, all, completely all the
But
schools.
we're
So
looking
that's
at
where
doing
the power's coming
it,
from.
we're looking at doing it when we go back and put the metal on the building.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about turning that, moving the electricity over, back to the bus barn and then having that light go back on.
Okay. Yeah, because
But then that
sitting in
would
your house and
fall,
stuff, you look over there, there's either
Yeah.
cars or semis or something, I can't see what's.
and then that would fall back on us too, as a personal light, not as a street light. I don't even know how.
But actually, we could mount that to the side of the building
Yeah.
up there, I'm assuming there, and once we get power to that building at a later date, that was earlier discussion about doing that, and we even had a bid on that, but quite frankly, I forget what Chris's.
I mean, eventually, since we're going to make that a park, we may want to put other lights up there anyway.
Okay.
Later on, after we find out what we're going to do with that
Yeah.
building.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, Ralph, if you'll, I'm sure she has it, if she doesn't, I have Mr. Stallman's
Okay,
number.
yeah,
I'll
she
give
gave me
it to
a
you,
couple
so-
of names that I had, but I didn't want to move forward till.
And then I have, and he's on the street lighting, if he goes along with that, without adding too much problems, I got a contact with DP&L, we could probably, or as far as that goes, yeah, they got pole sitters here in town right now, it's working all over town,
Right,
maybe
right,
DP&L would
right.
authorize them to set a pole up there, so
Right.
maybe that's the contact to go to, see if that can take place.
All right. Very good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll stop where we're at here, and Susan's here, and Susan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I was in Minnesota.
That's all right.
Been a crazy day, as you know. Okay, a couple things we want to talk about this evening. The first thing has to do with the school building. I did receive, I don't know, 5 binders worth of information from the National Trail School. Brian Smith, the facilities director, was nice enough to actually drop them off at our office because apparently he lives in Greenville. So he was very nice about it, basically left it all to me. We scanned most of it in and forwarded it to the environmental company, and they have reviewed it. They don't think anything's real bad up there. They would like to be here on Thursday morning to do a walkthrough, if that would work for anybody who lives in the building. You can name the time. They just said mid-morning would be preferable.
I can meet with them, but it really needs to be about 10:30.
Okay, they pretty much left that open.
Because I got a big delivery.
That's fine. And then they will be back on Friday to take any samples that they want to take. So they'll be here Thursday to take samples on Friday. And then we'll get the report back from them and kind of see what we take. So that's,
Anyone that wants to be there, it's fine.
okay, all right. The next thing I have has to do with the bids that we took on Friday. And I have the results of those for you.
Kelly's gone, she's gone.
Oh, hopefully she's
I'll put hers in her
somewhere
chair.
nice and warm, sunny. Yes, no. Basically, we received 5 bids. The bids range in amounts from low bid on the base of $198,000 to $241,000. We took bids for basically 2 separate phases. The base bid is West Cherry Street from Washington to Jefferson. It includes removal of the stumps, all the storm sewer related appurtenances clear down to the outlet on the railroad, replacement of sidewalks and driver approaches, some street widening of the north side that facilitates the parking there, so we can kind of widen the street out a little bit so we don't have to be, doing this number as we go down through there when people are parked on the north side. Replacement of curb with the asphalt wedge and pavement markings. And then we bid an alternate, which was from Jefferson Street kind of down to the railroad where all the sidewalk and existing curb stop, so it's not quite the railroad. And there's one stump down there that'll be removed, replacement of sidewalk drive approaches, street widening again on the north side, replacement of curb with the asphalt wedge and pavement markings. After examining the bids, the low bidder is Associated Excavating Incorporated of Brookville, Ohio, with a base bid of $198,074.25 and an alternate bid of $31,272.05 for a combined bid total of $229,346.30. After review of their bond and their associated paperwork, there were no apparent discrepancies in the bid packet. We contacted references from previous projects they completed for the city of Dayton, as well as a project in Huber Heights that they did last year. And we received satisfactory remarks from everybody that we talked to. They also did a good job. We're very happy with their work. They have been in business since 1970. They're a rather smaller company. They have 1 crew. And I think they have 1 job that they are getting contracted for the city of Dayton that I am aware that when talking to them that they told me about. With the completion of the tree cutting, which was $4,200, we have a remaining construction budget of $226,200. And so since that kind of exceeds the combined bid of the $229,000, I'm kind of giving you a couple options to think about as to how you want to award this. The first option is we can award the whole thing at $229,346.30. You would need to contribute an additional $3,146.30 to the project, barring that there's not any quantity adjustments that would decrease the project. And there would be no contingency funds available for any unforeseen conditions or any change orders along the way. Another option would be just to do the base bid only at the $198,074.25, which was what the original project was for, and it would leave contingency funds of $28,125.75. Another option that I kind of put together is kind of a meet me in the middle, so to speak, and it would be awarding the base bid of $198,074.25 and a portion of the alternate bid to complete the street widening on the north side, the placement of curb on both sides to the railroad, and the sidewalk on the north side, and then the sidewalk would not be removed and or replaced from Jefferson to the railroad on the south side. Because we're actually doing some widening on the north side, it's kind of hard to pull our curb back and then have that sidewalk still be there on the north side. And we're only talking about 100 feet of sidewalk, so we're not talking about an extensive length of sidewalk, but we're going to get into the point that you're not going to have any room to work with if you pull the curb back, but we leave the sidewalk where it's at. This option would leave the sidewalk on the south side alone. We would put a curb ramp there at Jefferson Street, and we have to probably make a few modifications on the way the curb line is going to go, because it'll take a little bit of that grass strip away to allow those people to still have the parking that they have down there. So with that being the case, we would award a contract in the amount of $223,762.30. There could be some further adjustments, as the quantities are determined based on the widening, but I feel comfortable that that would be fairly close. It would leave contingency amount of $2,437.70 for unforeseen conditions. But we would not be doing the sidewalk on the south side. So based on that, it's our recommendation that you award the project to Associated Excavating for one of the options listed above, or another option to be determined based on our discussion this evening and any other numbers you would want us to provide to you. So I guess at this point, we can kind of talk about what you think about the project as a whole. I tried to find a way to make it work with you without you having to put any other money in it. So I guess it's really, there's probably about 1,000 feet of sidewalk, and 900 feet of square feet of sidewalk on the south side that we would not be doing. That sidewalk would stay in place if we would do option number 3. So I guess the options are, to me, option 1 of putting another 3,000 in and just getting it finished. Option number 2 leaves an awful lot of money on the table that then we're going to have to come back and kind of deal with after the fact. Option number 3 gives you a little bit of cushion, and I think will give you a nice project other than the sidewalk on the south side, which you could always come back in and remove and replace later with, little, I guess, disturbance to anything related to the curb or what have you. Probably be tearing up some sidewalk or some grass and doing some reseeding twice. But other than that, it would allow you to still have it widened so that when ODOT comes through and they're paving next year, you'd have all of that done and it would all be pulled back and uniform. So I think it's important to try to consider at least getting that curb in, which would be option number 3.
Well, number 3, there is a possibility that it could come, some of it could come in a little bit lower, so there could be some money that we could go on the backside of this if there was money to continue on this.
There's the sidewalk on the alternate number 2 is about $8,000 altogether to remove and replace it. And we're putting about, I think, $3,200 back in, so that still leaves about $5,000 for the sidewalk that you're not doing. So, at the end, we might be able to do it, but we're going to have to be careful about if we try to do it at the end, do they have the same equipment here, do they have the forms, if they do the sidewalk, they're actually fine. That would be something we probably have to discuss with them.
But on option 3, regardless of where we stop it at that point, our obligation to this is over with, so we can have an outside bid on the remainder.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, you could.
What's council's opinion on this?
And we wouldn't get any change orders, none of that, if we decide not to do that south side, and then, at the end of the project.
Well, I can't guarantee there's no change orders in the whole thing. I can't.
Well, I know,
guarantee
I'm just
that.
saying, that if we decide to go with that
Could you
second
change
option.
order it back in if you wanted to?
To go ahead if we send
Yeah,
it.
you can change
But it
order.
Yeah, but then, okay.
I think we still could as long as we, we let them put the storm sewer in, let's just say. Well, that's going to be the most unforeseen stuff is the storm sewer. We get the storm sewer in and we see that, okay, we're in pretty decent shape, and then you want to change order that back into the contract, that sidewalk down there, I'm sure we could do that with them. Because you have the right to add or delete anything to the contract that you so choose, at any time you so choose, because I make sure that's in our contract. We give you the options to do it.
Once we fulfill our obligation of this contract, if you go with option 3, and if we look like and we get the number down there, then we can negotiate with the contractor on the remaining
You
500 or
can go,
600 feet or whatever. So he's sitting right there, or we could go outside that contract.
After it's all done.
After the contract's over with.
Either way, we still have to pay prevailing wages and all that.
No, what they did.
No, once you're done with this contract.
That's it.
Then it's a matter of we fulfill our,
if you left that contract, you left that sidewalk and you had $3,000 left, let's just say, and you wanted to just have somebody else come in and do that sidewalk, and you got 3 bids, and it came to $4,000, and so you paid the 3, and you throw in another 1,000, and you get it done, and we can do that.
It would be my recommendation to council that we go with option 3. Does anyone have any other recommendation they'd like to propose?
I agree with that.
Well, we need something to work, play with there in case we run into a problem.
Then I would need a motion to proceed with option 3 for the awarding of this bid.
So when,
Second.
Roll call, please.
Neil,
Yes.
Mary Jane, yes. Ralph,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay, I will prepare the award paperwork and get it down here so you can sign it.
Okay.
And I'll try to bring it down to you on Thursday.
All right.
And then we'll get it sent to Associated Excavating and proceed with that process. And then, once I get all the paperwork back, we'll set up a pre-construction meeting with them to kind of discuss how we want the construction to go and kind of figure out what we're thinking and if there's anything particular.
And what due date are you putting on this to be finished? Are you gonna give them a deadline?
October 31st.
October 31st.
The other thing I think that's still outstanding is potentially there's supposed to be a driveway at the house behind where Tudor's used to be. I think they requested a driveway curb cut in there, and I think we were looking into that, and that's something that we probably just need to decide by the time we have to.
Yeah, I went down and looked at that. They requested, I don't, they've got enough room there to maybe put an 8-foot driveway there without the setbacks from the property line. But then when they get back there, there's no room to tear a garage down unless they're going to remove the buildings that's back there now and put a garage up. I have not had a discussion with the people, but I did look at it with your engineer, and quite frankly, I think it's really pushing them to be able to achieve that.
I think so too, and I'm not sure they realize where the property line is.
And as we get closer to the project, we'll talk to them and show them our restrictions on us, on the setbacks from the side yards, and that may be in the conversation there anyway, so.
I just didn't want to leave that unturned because I know I did receive a call from them, and I knew we were looking over that.
We'll take a look at it, but we haven't met with them, but once the project's awarded, then we'll talk with them and pull over the setbacks, and let them make the decision as to what's, and then also, if they want that extra concrete stuff poured there, then they're gonna have to pay for that.
Yes, but it's not included.
It's not included in our project, so.
And we're adding a curb cut that wasn't there, normally we just put back what's there, so.
Right.
You're correct. Okay.
All right.
Any other questions? Okay.
I have one, going back to the Shakes ditch in
Yes.
Rocky Hill. I know there's a grant out there. It might go along with the school, or the Brownsville, or
Okay.
Clean Air, or whatever,
Okay.
that you mentioned before.
Right.
I just don't want to let that slip away and be
Okay.
shoved under the rug, because
Okay.
it needs to be done, it needs cleaned out. So
All right.
if there's any information that you could get us, I can't remember when that grant application needed to be in, but
The Clean Ohio, I think it's the Clean Ohio Conservation Fund that we're talking about, and it is due, I believe, in September.
okay.
So.
I just didn't want it to get fall through the crack.
I'll get you some information, and I'll
Okay.
have it here for your next meeting, because by then it's gonna be May, and we're gonna have to start thinking about issues again. So, from one to the next. So,
All right.
okay.
Thank you,
All right,
Susan.
thank you
Thanks,
very
As
much.
always, fine job.
All right, thank you very much.
At this point, I would like to amend the agenda a little bit. I would like to go into executive session at this time for personnel. and I would need a motion to do so, please.
I move that we go to executive session, to discuss personnel.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Neil,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
And BPA, please stay. Everyone else, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you, Susan.
All right, you're welcome.
See you.
You're on.
I need a motion to come out of executive session,
I move
please.
that we come out of executive session.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Neil,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
All right, next order of business is finance. Kathy's not here.
Well, I think we've already, there's a couple of things I want to bring up, and one was, I think we're all obvious that we need to hire us an attorney, and we need to go that situation and find an attorney. I know you talked to Mr. Hobbs possibly taking it, he's declined to do so. Mr. Bruns is moving on, he's moving up the ladder, and we need somebody to handle the village, and so we need to find us an attorney that'll do so. So that's something I think we definitely need to do. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up this time also, the personnel policy. I think we pretty well got it ironed out. There's a couple things that needs to be maybe clarified, but I think by the next meeting, I think we need to go ahead and adopt our personnel policy so that we can move on.
Okay,
That's the only thing I want to bring up.
I do not disagree with the fact that we do need an attorney. I mean, Steve has done,
You can't ever get a hold of it.
and he's done it for gratis, and I
Yeah.
thank him for that because his love of New Paris.
Absolutely.
But in certain situations, we need more immediate answers, and like I asked Mr. Hobbs if he'd be interested, his opinion is he wants to come to every meeting because that way he knows what's going on, and even if we had one that comes once a month, I think would be beneficial to us, but that's up to council to decide if that's the direction they want to go on, so.
But he did decline us, did he not tell us that? He just really didn't give you
Said
that
he would
answer.
love to, but he just at this time didn't feel like that he wanted to occupy any more of the evenings than he has occupied now, so.
Is this lawyer paid job or do you follow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we used to pay Amy $500 a month whether he showed up or not.
Yeah, that's,
I
they
mean-
handled it.
It'd be nice if we could find a young attorney that didn't have a boatload, that
I've been the
that
only one service
would
here.
come out and be more, that's a little more hungrier than some of the rest of us already comfortable in life. I think would be, in my
But at
opinion.
one time you did pay $500 a month for a city.
We've always, almost always, since I've been on council, had an attorney, except for here
Now.
recently, that we've been using, we got in that situation when our finances got very, very tight, then we went to Marty to take care of the civil part, of the.
Police.
The criminal part of it, and Steve agreed to handle the other side of it for us, out of the love of New Paris of his heart. He didn't really want to, and he said, I will help you until you can make other arrangements, which I appreciate it.
Did
Thank
you get any
you for doing
But he
that.
was asking,
suggestions
there's
from them?
situations you can't handle.
Anybody?
I did not get any
Magistrate.
suggestions from Mr. Hobbs, did not know of anyone that
I
he
just
just recommended at this time.
I know a couple.
This is
of
not-
them.
Well, okay.
But I don't know how.
Suggestions?
Talk to him. Feel free to talk to him. We'll leave it at that. But we won't make this, we'll make it just, if somebody has an attorney that knows, let's talk to them.
Okay.
Sanitation.
I've got a lot of work to do,
Yes.
and I need to get on it.
Okay. I
Spring's coming.
I had a phone call from a lady, and I know you've dealt with this in the past, on these chickens here in town.
Yeah.
It is my opinion that we have ordinances in place. It says livestock, and just because we received a letter from their attorney at one point stating, the only thing that I understand this to state is that it was sent to the people living there and not to the property owner.
I sent it to whatever the auditor had as a property owner with a mailing address of Lewisburg.
Well, in what it says here, I'm writing you by your ordinance is defective. Mr. Ward is not the property owner in your notification as this bishop.
Not the guy that lives here, his dad owns the property. That's his, the dad lives in Lewisburg. This guy over here is mad because I keep sending it to his dad, who's the according to the auditor's office, his dad's the property owner.
Well, I think our ordinance stands for itself, and I'm gonna send a chief down there to put a notice on
And
their
I
door to
did
get rid of
not-
the chickens.
This last bunch of letters that Neil and I worked on before, I did not send the ordinance, copy of the ordinance with it. I had done in the past. There's old files back there where I did send the ordinance, but I didn't the last time, and that's in that letter too, where they didn't get a copy. They do have a copy of the old one.
Well, also that man told you not to quit calling him or quit sending him a letter, did he not?
Yeah,
Well,
but everybody tells me that.
like I say, I'm gonna send the chief down there, put a notice, and we'll do we have policies in place for, or an ordinance for fines and stuff after it takes place, and I think we're gonna go that route, and it's up to these people whether they want to be an attorney.
Did you discuss that with Mr. Hobbs?
I did not.
Okay, that's where the letter came from.
I realize that, but I did discuss it with
We
him.
got the nuisance ordinance also, so I think that's covered.
Yeah.
Then we need to move ahead. Just be done.
Okay, Mary Jane, so planning, I think, nothing, well, we do, I think they'll be back next week on.
Can I go back to sanitation?
Yes, you may.
I had
Sorry.
several complaints about the mattresses on Cherry Street.
Yeah,
Where they at?
right down here before you come across the old railroad, there was one on each side.
They've been there for over a month.
There again, we'll get to cheaper
Mary
paper.
Mary Jane knew it, but I just, and I know you haven't had a chance to do anything about it, but I wanted to bring it up to council. And
I
if we
kept
could do
thinking
it-
that they would pick
That's
them
what I
up in
kept
the
thinking,
trash,
too.
but it didn't
And
happen.
Well,
every
we'll-
time I get a phone call, I says, well, the trash hadn't been picked up yet.
And a lot of people don't,
We will have the chief tag that too.
a lot of people doesn't know that when they want something like that picked up, they have to call Rumpke.
Get a
It has to
special
be
deal.
wrapped in plastic, a mattress does before they'll pick them up, and they have to call and let them know it needs to be picked up.
But anyway, I've got a couple of calls on it.
All I gotta do is take it right over here, throw it on the top of the car, and drive over there and dump it off.
But it has to be wrapped, it's supposed to be
Don't matter
wrapped
what the
because of bed bugs.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, I'm not sure that's why it was out there, but.
We can go to Wayne County, you can take stuff out of this.
Yeah, I do it all the
State
time.
over there.
Yeah, they accept that they're a Richmond.
They didn't used to.
They
Yeah,
don't need to, they do now.
they do now.
So,
Okay, BPA, I think we've been through that, unless Kevin, unless you have something
Yeah.
else. Please go ahead.
The resolution that we need to
Oh,
update,
gotcha.
you should have a copy of it there, 2020 is being updated in this 2015-05 resolution. Where it's, we have a few residences and a few businesses that aren't metered, and therefore we charge them a flat rate. And we want to increase that rate from, for the residential from $35 to $45, and for business from $80 to $90. That's an increase of $10 on each. These are places that we have no way of metering the water usage.
I do not have a copy of that, so
Yeah, you do.
I do?
Yes. It's right there on top.
Oh, you're right, right in front of me. Okay. Resolution 2015-05, a resolution to increase the minimum sewer rate for the Village of New Parish for residents and business without meters. Whereas this resolution to increase the sewer rate is necessary to keep up with the revision to the sewer system. Now it be therefore resolved by the Council of the Village of New Parish, Preble County, Ohio, Section 1, that the sewer rate shall increase $10 on a non-meter residents and businesses. This taking the minimum from $35 residence rate to $45 resident rate, and this is taking the business minimum from $80 business rate to $90 business rate. Section 2, that this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest period allowed by law. I need a motion to accept Resolution 2000-05.
So moved.
second.
Roll call, please.
Neil,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
I need a motion to forego the 3 reading rule on this and pass it as an emergency, please.
Motion made.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Neil,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Anything else, Kevin?
No, I think that's it. How does that work? Does the old resolution, does it stay on the books also? Or is that taken?
I'm assuming that this
It does.
this stays there, but this supersedes it.
Right. But I didn't know that.
Because you're amended, is what it is. So it's-
I got a question after the fact, Kevin. If these are going to be metered, do they have that option to meter?
Yeah, but they,
Won't be? Okay.
We went through that years ago when we first set this whole thing.
Well, I
The
always
people
did
that
say
wanted-
everything in town ought to be metered, but I didn't know.
Well, that's the way it was supposed to be. And we went to these individuals, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to work with us on that, so we set them up on this. They
Okay.
agreed to it. That's the way it's been.
Just curious.
Okay. Jama attended the conference, her expenses and lodging and meals come to $184.45 that she had to use her own card for because they didn't accept our village card. What was the reason behind that?
Because it was expired.
But she settled for half.
So,
Couldn't you pack your lunch?
and
Hey, I only ate once.
The question
You can
is-
see that right there. So much.
the question arises, who's in charge of keeping it current?
She is.
Well, no, here's the thing, it is expired. No, it expired, the other card was in here. I took the wrong card.
Duly
Pass it.
duly noted.
That's good.
I make a motion to pass James' expense.
In the amount of $184.45.
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes.
Neil.
What's going on up there? Well, I don't know. Yes.
now when that comes before BPA.
It is.
It better go get here for you guys. Here's some more. Take one, pass it.
Okay, we'll get to this one in just a second.
Okay.
I would like to bring this to council's attention. We have called Hometown down here, and there was some discussion in the past about availability for the officers when the stations inside the village are closed as far as being able to access the pumps. So we called Hometown down here for some quotes on prices. And on what they come back to us on was Hometown will set a 550-gallon double-wall tank, high volume. It needs to be 50 feet from a building and need electric. So we do not have to have a pit under it or any of that nature. And they're giving us a tax exempt price of $2, at this point is $2.10 per gallon if we set our own tanks out here. On the diesel, which is off-road, they'll provide us with a 285-gallon tank in a pan with a hand pump. Doesn't need electric, but it does. You can't get a pump that meters it, so Jama can dispense it to which car, which vehicle for her auditing records back here. So I would ask council the direction they would like to go with this. I know we have the officers, so we can, number one, we save money. So anytime we save money, in my opinion, is a given. Number two, accessibility is whenever the officers need it, any time of the night that they need it. Number three, we have the area back there to do it in. I personally see no reason why not to move in this direction, but I ask council their opinion.
Somebody will steal it.
Well, you have to lock it, there's no doubt about
Somebody
it.
will steal it.
And we still have security cameras set up here now.
You do?
Yes, we do.
I That'll help if somebody else.
We got security cameras coming in or out.
Would council be interested in sharing some of this with the fire department? Fire
How
department,
big a tank would we be looking at?
well, I don't know, I don't have the numbers on an average of what the fire trucks use. I do know that our system, we're speaking of the fire department, is at about 90% diesel, 10% gas, where we're just the opposite here of what the village has. They've got more gas and they've got diesel.
Right.
But it was discussed about,
Yeah, you can turn it off now.
It's right over my head.
it was kind of discussed freely about maybe, once I made the suggestion about doing this for ourselves, that there was some talk maybe of a shared situation. Now, it's just something for discussion. Naturally, it would be a larger tank facility on both probably.
I would think that we would have to talk with Hometown again on the tank situation.
How soon would you need an answer?
Well, there's no answer. I'm just throwing this out here to council is that this is the direction. I mean, this is not a yes tonight or no tonight. This is, does council want to consider doing this? Number one, it's a money-saving thing. Number two, accessibility thing. I'm just asking council their opinion and moving in this type of direction. There's nothing in stone here. I'm just saying, is it a good idea or a bad idea?
I think it's a good idea, and I think we should have done it a long time ago. I'm in favor of it by far.
Might have to put an alarm system on it.
Tell you, somebody will steal it.
Well, and we face that
Fence around
situation
it.
at any point, so, I mean,
With electricity on it.
Well, that's why we got these security cameras up for now.
there's a couple, situations here to, in my opinion, to consider. Accessibility, one, emergency situation, two, we were hooked up to a generator down here, so, when the power goes out from Rickman on down, nobody has accessibility to fuel.
So now we would.
That would be one issue to look at, in my opinion. And then, of course, the officers at night, when everything's closed up, they can, suggest to me, well, I guess we could go out there every time when you're just wearing and tearing and going excessive when you have it right here. Biggest thing in my mind is if you can start saving, and I'm not quoting prices here because I know what the prices are, but if you can save anywhere from 2 to a nickel to 6 to 7 cents a gallon, that is just pays for itself eventually. I mean, anytime you can save, it's like the gator. It's proven that gator is making money, saving us money.
Yeah.
And I think this, in time, will do the same thing, in my opinion.
And-
Now, as sharing it, Ralph, I don't have an issue with that.
That
I
goes
just don't
back
know
to the
how
safety
big
issue.
tank we have to have for diesel with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how much a fire truck holds. I mean, they're talking about a 550 gallon gas tank. I don't know how, 100 gallon tanks or?
No, they're not that.
They're not that big. I have no idea. I mean, I literally have no idea.
To me, just what you brought up is a safety factor, and just what Rick said, that too, this creates a safety factor for everybody concerned in the village.
Right.
Because if the power goes out, even they have trouble out with petrol, these guys will have to, they want to need fuel.
Right.
Emergency situation, where they're gonna get it.
And I don't know, I don't believe anybody's in town handling diesel anymore, are they? As both stations taking diesel out?
I don't know, I haven't been out there a long time, I don't know.
I'm thinking, I think the last time I went to get diesel for my Bobcat, neither place had it.
I don't know.
And I don't know, but anyway.
Anyway,
I
I
would
think
say it'd be open for discussion, Ralph. I think we need to check with Hometown on that to see, I mean, if that's the direction council would like to move, then we'll move in that direction, get more information about it, and then have discussion.
So it's okay if I take this to the fire department
I think
meeting
you
next
should.
Monday?
Yeah.
And put it on the floor there for them too?
Yeah, let's see if they're interested, if we could do that, just noting what we get into on a bigger tank.
Right.
Because my big concern all along was we were going to have to build a pit, blah, 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 for EPA.
Right,
But according to them, these double wall tanks take you out of that situation for spillage.
Right.
And it says 50 feet from a building. There's electric out there at that Palmer building that sits out here away from everything. There's electric running to there already. So somewhere in that area, lit it out, or, light it up, whatever. I don't, you always have possibilities on still and stuff, but We have cameras here, so,
That's right.
we put a camera on that. We do have a camera system in place, so, you're always accessible to.
It's just keeping everything straight, that's the only thing, and just,
Yeah,
Who uses what?
and James have, car one, each officer when he goes is gonna have to be registered, okay, put this many gallons in chief's car, deputy's car, fire truck,
ambulance, whatever.
BPA truck, wherever the hell it goes, it goes. They just gotta be diligent in for her as to what they do. So if she puts it in the funds, then it needs to be.
Right.
I understand that there's no, or what you said about you don't need a pit, or, because the way it's made, it's, is there any other codes of,
Flood zone or anything?
where it would be said as a can't
It has to be in
can
the
lie
flood
on there?
zone.
Well, number one, that's what I'm asking, do we want to pursue this? And then we'll have to
Just see, find out, okay.
pursue what, it may come to the point where we can't do it, but we don't know unless we
It'll
move in
depend,
that
we might
direction.
have to put a standing tank. And we've only had one time where it came down here and ruined it, and that was when we had that 100-year flood. And we had to- And we had to completely redo this building, that's why we redid the building.
I guess the question is, does council want to move forward to the possibility?
I think
of
so.
saving money?
Yes.
I'd say
Yeah.
yes. That's a good situation. It is.
Okay. All right. This is, flood insurance. Increased coverage to $165,000 would make premiums $35.37, keeping the same coverage of $150,000 would make the premiums $33.07. We are currently paying a yearly premium of $25.75, and this is split between BPA. So we're currently paying $25.75, and they're wanting to go up to $33.07
Yes, so that would be an increase.
at the $150,000 mark.
Yeah, if we keep it at
And if we want to go to 165, it'll be $35.37.
Correct, for the year.
So it's going to be an increase of,
732 if we keep the
Per
same.
year?
Yeah.
what's council's wishes on this?
I say leave it the same.
I would need that in the form of a motion.
I move that we keep it the same at.
$150,000 mark, for an increase of $732
$32.
per month. Is there a second?
That's my motion.
Roll call, please.
Neil?
Yes.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Thank you.
What was that cost again?
The total cost on that is going to be $3,307 for the year.
Thank you.
Okay, JMA's review is due. I will do that for next month's meeting. And the only thing left,
This is the burial. I had them split up there for you.
we need a discussion on this. This is not necessarily to be read tonight, I don't think, as an ordinance, but we need a discussion on this situation of indigent burial. As everyone knows, we are responsible for indigents, which we just recently had one for the amount of $700.
750.
$750? $750. I called and talked to Barnes about proving that these people were residents of the village, and quite frankly, there's not much in place to say that they are, other than their word for it, that we're on the hook for. And so we need to have a discussion about a couple things in this regard. Number one, this is a cremation situation, and there seems to be discussion as to if they would like the remains of the individual, the family township has in place that if the family would like the remains, that they have 3 days in which to pay the burial fee, the $750.
No, the cremation fee is $750, burial fees is $5 something.
But we're only required to do the $750.
No, we're required to do both, unless they pay for the ashes. If they refuse the ashes, then we have to bury the
With the
ashes.
original resolution.
Yeah, the old resolution, I did not put that in there, but it is required, and it's in the Ohio Revised Code, that we are required to do both. And the numbers on the Ohio Revised Code has changed since I wrote the other one. The first resolution I wrote was in 2006, when I was made aware that the state had turned all of that over to the villages, the townships, and cities, because the state no longer pays for those people. And wherever they die, wherever their residency is, that's who has to pay for them if they don't have any money.
State indigent burial program was abolished. This program has been paid. This program had a funeral directors up to $750 per indigent burial. The sum of money asked for burial expenses shall be allowed to the state of person who dies. The sum referred to hereof shall not exceed $750 per burial, and shall be used only for burial expenses purposes. Headstones will not cost more than $25. Nowhere in here does it say that we have to pay for both.
What are you reading? Which
The
one?
original resolution.
The
Well, that
resolution
is wrong.
2006-11.
It states it in the Ohio Revised Code that we're responsible for the cremation and the burial.
I would have to disagree with that. I would think burial will fall upon the township because the graveyard's in the township.
Oh, well,
I would disagree with that statement. I think the only thing we're
Okay.
obligated for is $750.
well, that could be. Okay.
So therefore,
The question was what we was going to do if the people doing it, going after them, if in fact we wanted to hold them, in which I think we talked about that earlier, would put us in a bad situation, and we don't want to get into that situation.
we do not want to be in the position of where we hold someone's ashes. So if the family, and this I can tell you what the Jefferson Township just passed a couple months ago, they are giving the family 3 days. If they want their remains, they have 3 days in which to pay the $750. Otherwise, township goes ahead and buries them, and they're done with it. And right now, we do not have a time limit on ours. The funeral home is not going to hold for a long period of time, nor do they want to be responsible for the remains. We need to consider, especially with the amount of overdoses that everybody is getting now, this could turn into quite a number for us. And there's really no way of proving that they're residents. They could be living here with their mother, and well, that's our residence or whatever. And then we're out to $750. And I called and talked to Family Services, and I talked to the funeral director at Barz's, and they said basically what they go by, that is if they're on some type of assistance, they scrutinize them pretty hard at the county as to far as where they're living for their assistance programs. And he said if they're on assistance, he says about 95% of the time you can bet they actually live there. But other than those guidelines, he could not point me in a direction to go for this. And so I talked to Family Services and explained the situation. You know, we've had a death here. They're claiming to be indigent. We don't even know if the person lives here. I think they was just living with the relative at the time. The relative says, we have nothing, and so they come to us, and by law, we gotta put the 750 into place. I think we need, and I don't know how to do this, and Mary Jane, you've got some possible things there about proving how they are actually a resident here in the village. And then I think we need to have, I think we have to have something in place that if they want the remains, they gotta come up with it in 3 days or 5 days,
Right.
not to exceed 5 days, if they want the remains.
And when that happens, Barnes's has given us a form for the family to fill out. We call it an application for this, and they have to put down their finances and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then they kind of know and can do a little checking on that.
Well, I can be honest with you, that form, I almost did not sign that form. I had to sign it the other day on that.
Uh-huh.
And so that's one of the reasons I called the funeral home to talk to them. I said, this is so vague
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I don't know that I want to sign this. Because there's no way to prove or recourse for us whether they got anything or not, whether they're indigent or not indigent. I mean, there's no fact-finding method here in place, and we need to consider something to that nature. And quite frankly, I don't know what that is, but we need to come up with something, because we're going to be on the hook here for,
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing could
Maybe,
snowball.
I never thought of it, but
When you say 750, the township, 750 for the township?
no.
750 for the village.
Okay.
And that's what they charge for cremation.
Right.
All the people, the Barneses or funeral homes they got from the county say, okay, we'll do it bare minimum, cardboard box, cremation, that it is. They agreed at a reduced number for the same situation we're all in.
Right.
They're actually doing a service to the county because of the situation. But that's all they do, is that cremation. And then, so then, we pay for the cremation, but then the township gives them 3 days if they want the remains before they bury it, to pay for their part of it. What I'm saying is, we should give the same amount of time for them to pay us back.
Oh, I see.
I would assume in this situation, and this is going to have to be a lawyer question, I'm assuming, who has first rights on the money? Seeing how we're paying for the cremation, my opinion is, we have first rights, if they want them. That's a situation that needs to be clarified by law, but we're just bringing to the table tonight the attention that something needs to be done and asking opinions of the direction we'd like to go with this. I don't think we're ready to read this yet, Mary Jane, because
No, I was
if
just-
we're going to put a date, if we're going to put a limit in there, we need to make sure that's in there before we can get that far. So opinion on the situation. Ralph?
Well, I think we need to move forward with it, do something. And I do know Mary Jane's worked on this and got a rule of thumb from a couple of other communities on how they do it. And I like the idea of the 3 days.
A time limit?
Right, time
What?
limit.
Absolutely.
Jama called Lewisburg and they faxed over their ordinance.
Yeah, it's
But
in-
then when I called them back and asked them some questions, they said, well, we really don't know. We've never had to bury anybody. We've had 4 in
We
the
have.
past. We have had, was our 4th one in, let's see, how many years?
Since we put it into effect.
Yeah. There was
With the
another-
community becoming what it is today,
Yes.
like I just said a while ago, the snowball effect on this could come in every month, or it's more often, the way this is
Yeah,
going.
they probably have had some. But I think we need to get some of our money back if we can, because
Absolutely.
if you,
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think you're right, we need to move ahead.
But
We need to put the 3 days.
even more importantly, we need a way of proving that they're a resident of the village.
yeah, I don't know how to do that. Unless they file, well, if they're on assistance, they're not going to file taxes because they're not making enough money.
Well, when they be through the post office, you have to live here.
Well, I've
6
asked
months.
for proof of residency by,
Right now, they just
light
come down and say,
bill,
yeah,
phone bill,
she's
or
been living
something.
with me, and you sign off on, that's it. I mean, there's no verification
I don't agree with
whatsoever.
that at all.
There is, I almost didn't sign it. I signed after talking with Barnes, because he said, listen, we're in a position, you're in a position, we need to do something here. I said, okay, I'm signing it. I don't like this situation.
And I think they were
Absolutely.
pushing their agenda too, because they needed to do something with their situation.
You know, they're on the hook, we're on the hook, everybody's on the hook. But I think, and just like you say, this could get to be a serious issue in today's world with the overdoses and stuff that goes on, and we need to come up and just be thinking about this. We need to come up with something
And have it in place. We need
in
to.
place for if there's some type of verification that we can do, and if we want to insert a time limit on these people. Because right now, well, to be perfectly frank, what happens is we pay for the cremation, and they go down there, and the township gives them 3 days to decide whether they want to remain or not, and all of a sudden, the township gives their $550, and we're still out to $750.
Yeah.
That's how it works, guys. So I'm looking for a scenario here where we both get what's coming back to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Now, there again, my statement previous is, who gets first dibs? Well, see, now we're paying for the cremation before it ever gets to the ground. We should be first dibs,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. If that messes up the township, sorry township, but. So be thinking about that. Let's try and get something worked out really quick on that, so we don't end up with
So how many days do you guys think?
I'd do the same as what the township does. I'd stay in with what they've already put in place. I think that's the best way to go there.
But if you end up with the ashes, what are you gonna do?
No, we're not in it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I do not want to be in that position.
But after day number 4, what do you do?
The funeral home then, the ashes stay at the funeral home until that third day goes by. They're on the hook.
Okay.
No, I'm not, and that's what I'm telling her. I'm not in a situation where we store anything, and we lose it and get sued. No. We're not touching this thing. One thing I want to do is try to recuperate our money that we're spending. If they want the ashes to do with, set them on their mantle, feed them to their dog, I don't care. I just want to try and recuperate bad terminology there, the first thing popped in my head. But, that's beside the,
You'll can't help with that one.
yeah, I probably will, so, yeah.
On that section 3 though, when I
I
copied,
apologize for that terminology there.
when I copied from Lewisburg, it states
Yeah, can you go back and beat that one out?
that the village,
It's better than what you
the
want to do.
additional cost of the
I didn't bring that
village per section 9.15 of Ohio Revised Code. That's where I read that section 3, Rick, and that's what Lewisburg had in their ordinance, and it states that the village pays for the burial too.
Well, that's their village doing it, that's not ours,
Yeah,
that's
but,
not what
okay,
we do.
no, but it says, because of the section 9.15 of the Ohio Revised Code, that we're still responsible for the burial.
That's why we need to talk to an attorney, get it squared,
Yeah.
and get the answer from them first.
The one that you were using reference to, Mary Jane, is the possibility that that cemetery is within the village and not in a township situation like ours?
No, they're stated township.
Okay.
Well, be thinking about this, guys.
Regardless, we need to get
Yeah,
it
we'll
taken
have
care
that.
of. You need to talk to the attorney first and
Yeah.
get this squared away. Set the 3-day motion on it, that we're gonna do.
Okay.
And let's go.
Okay.
You know, move on.
I just wanted to make, make you guys aware of what's going on with this. So,
That was just all this.
I know, so I lost my agenda. Anyway, there it is. I think we've covered everything here tonight. We've got the Susan taken care of, we've got the other situations taken care of. Anybody have anything else? Rob?
I got it. Back to phone calls, I've been getting phone calls all over the place. There's some complaints about semis being parked at the old school building. Last
There was.
winter, I was called a couple of times. Semis
see
said
the
that
cars
were
running
running there and was disrupting the residents. Right now, the weather's gotten warmer, they're not running, but they're sitting there. I was was asked by a couple other people here in town that drive semis, wanted to know if we're allowing semis to be parked up there. If so, they'd like to park theirs up there. I don't think we want to get into the
No, I'm not.
of the app becoming a truck stop up there.
Well, at the point being right across from your house, I think that's a conflict of interest for you to say, but I agree with you.
No bull crap.
I don't know whether the chief's aware of the one that's been sitting up here several times. I looked at myself.
Is it council's wishes to have is it council's wishes to put a no semi-parking sign at the old school?
Yes.
This is designated
So be-
park.
That one guy
Designated-
last summer left his sitting there for how many hours? It was like he parked it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it was still running it.
I don't
At
think
4
the
o'clock in the
people that are
morning.
using it are residents of the village. I think they're
Do we need that
friends,
formal motion?
whatever.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
We would need
No
a
semi.
motion for no semi-parking allowed at our future park facilities.
Since it's
I don't
already
think
designated
they should park
as park.
anywhere except at their own house.
See, I disagree with that. I don't think there should be a semi in the village, period.
I don't either.
Well, I can tell you from years ago when I drove a
I'm just
semi,
saying.
that you cannot restrict a person from his right to get to his home.
I'll tell you what,
Us.
I've seen semis sitting on, I've seen semis sitting in driveways that were 10 feet away from somebody's bedroom. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do when they start it.
Yeah.
I
But
can tell you exactly
I can
what
tell
I
you, you get into a whole new set of circumstances
Yeah.
there. You can't determine a person's right to come home with their work vehicle if it's on their property. Now, if it's in a lot such as a school or something, that's a different story. But if it's there, or it's even on the street, parking on the street, and now there's a noise, you can get by with a noise resolution, but even parking on the street, I can tell you, is going to be a tough issue to curb.
Right.
Guaranteed.
And you
Well,
park-
I was a truck driver, semi, I parked in front of my house for a couple hours while I came home to eat, shave, clean up, and moved on. A couple hours was probably the best, no overnight stuff.
Right.
So I know how these guys, what they need to do
Right.
to get to their own homes or whatever. But creating a situation at the school grounds will come back to bite us if we
Yes.
let it go.
Yeah.
And I would not do that myself if I was still in the trucking business. I would put my truck somewhere else and come home if I
My
was a
truck
resident.
stops are
But I
full.
don't think this gentleman or whoever it is
And then
are
walk home.
residents of the village.
There's
Been
some,
sitting all day,
because there's
just walk
not, there's
out.
not a light over there, and I can't see whether they're coming and going from that truck, because there's some that park their truck and have their wives or whatever pick them up, and they go where they go. But then there's others that actually stay in the truck, I can't see them.
And
But I have noticed that some of the entrance to the lot there, where the trucks have fallen off onto the edge of the, and it's doing some damage
Now,
there.
there again, it'd be hard to prove whether it's the phone, the semis deliver the poles or whether it's.
Correct.
So we can't stipulate there, but what we can say, and we need a motion here, is that we put a no parking of semis on New Paris's village park property, however you want to put it, so.
Probably need more than one.
Well, if you just put it at each entrance, I think that pretty much sums it up. If you put one on each driveway, I don't know what else you need other than.
I'm just afraid since I've
That's
had
three
other people
driveways.
ask me if they could park theirs up there.
It's gonna
Well, you've already seen
Where's
that.
3 driveways at the school at?
One down by the ballpark and the 2
Well,
up
they're
there
not
by.
parking down there, Mary Jane. They're
Well,
just
they
parking-
could.
Well, they'll give you an idea, Mary Jane, so.
I agree with you, Ralph, because there's been more than one semi, so
Yeah.
I almost think that one person seen it, and then the next one seen it.
But when we pass this, we're gonna have to tell them guys that's leaving their pole trucks up there overnight that it's okay.
Yeah, and that's not the issue I'm looking for. It's the semis that are hooked up with tractor and trailer together, not here to do
Or just a tractor
utility
itself.
work. Yes, or the tractor itself, yeah.
Need a motion for that. Is there a second or a motion for the
Second.
sign? Roll call, please.
Neil,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mary Jane.
Yeah.
How much longer are they doing the poll?
I've been told by the guys coming in all time for lunch, and they said they're gonna be here part of the summer yet, is what they're saying. I think originally they had 102 poles, I think one of them told me, and I think maybe they've increased that a little. I not know how much, but the only thing they said was we'll be here a while. So I know they still
I
got
was kind of curious.
several laid up
See
on
if
the
bring
ground.
more in.
Yeah, so yeah, they're bringing more in all the time, so I'm assuming, you know, I don't know what their final deadline
Well,
is.
and just out of curiosity, what are they eventually, or do you know what they're eventually going to do with those old ones?
I can tell you that the old ones are going to be up for grabs. So,
I was just curious, I see them
yeah.
put them back there, I didn't know what they was going to do with it.
We told them they could stack them there, and they told them we could do it at our discretion, what we want to do with it. We can let people have them, we can cut them up. People can come in and cut them up, or we can request that they haul them off when they're done with the job. Any or all above.
So they've laid it back in our laps to dispose of them?
No. I said they said that anyone that wanted some could have them.
So in the end, we're not. gonna
In
get
the
stuff like
end,
that.
they will be removed by them, but in the meantime, if someone wants any of them, wants to cut them up or whatever, it's there for them to do. Now, that has not been made public until 10 seconds ago, but I know we're going to take two of the best ones and put them inside the pole barn, on the structures, on the wood beams, so we can hang our salt box without having to lift our girl back in, strap onto it, leave it hanging in the air, so we just back under and load our salt. I mean, there's two perfectly good beams for that, so we're going to use two of them for ourselves. The rest of them are up for grabs, but when they're done, they will dispose of them.
But make that public that they need to check with you or somebody.
Well, I think, we don't want a free-for-all up there. I think they need to come to the village and ask,
Okay.
so we know what's,
Make
I
sure.
mean, because I'm not going to, first time you say, go get what you want, and they go up there and cut the big new ones up, or take the new ones. I don't want that situation. Whoever's interested needs to come to the village. Let me rephrase that. Whoever's interested needs to, they need to come to the village for specifications of what can be disposed of with the old ones.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, having said that, I'm about out of here. Next meeting will be May 4th, 2015, 7 o'clock. I need a motion to.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Mary Jane, you got
I just
something?
thought of two things. One is that tree down there on Jefferson Street that was cut down, the village wanted to cut down, it's broken out.
That tree is on their yard, and there was never an agreement that we take that tree down. We cut
Stop.
it. We never agreed to that. Because I was on the street department at that time. I went down with that tree after you brought it out there before. We told them we were going to take part of their tree down because of the shade on our road that was deteriorating our road. At no time did we tell them we were going to remove that tree.
And the other thing, the other day, down there across from your place, at the, there on the corner where the
Rehab place.
school, yeah, the rehab place, there was a dually sitting out there. I could not, and there was traffic at the stoplight. You could not turn, could not get through because that dually truck was sitting. It wasn't as close to the curb, but that still needs to be taken care of down there.
That is a parking place there.
It is, but it doesn't need to be there. We need to do something.
We have to stay 25 feet from the curb.
Now, I don't want to hear that crap because I know that something can be done down there.
All right, Mary Jane, what is it you'd like to do? According to state law,
It
you
needs to
can have the
be-
yellow back 25
It
feet.
needs to be for unloading for the handicap only and no other parking there.
Let's
You
yell.
gotta get up and down
Let's yell
through
from
that
the front
street
door there,
too.
that loading area back to the curb, isn't it?
Yes, and it's parking from there forward, according to
From there forward,
setbacks.
okay.
And that's why she's
So
talking
what
about,
do you
she's
do
talking
when
about a
people sitting out
legitimate
there and
parking
you
place
can't get
there.
through?
She's talking about a legitimate parking place that we have designated for parking on the south side of the yellow line. So now you want to require what kind of car can sit there?
Yeah, you need to know not what kind of car, Rick, you know what I'm talking about. You
That's
need
not
to
what
do
you just
something
said there,
that-
Jane. You just said a
I'm
dually.
not gonna argue with you, I'm trying to explain it to you, so hush. needs to be done before, so I'm blocking traffic. They can't get through because I can't get through because of whoever's parking there. It's too tight there and there's going to be a wreck.
So you want no parking in front of that?
No, I don't want any parking there.
You don't want any parking there?
Unless-
None whatsoever, correct?
Right.
And so,
Unless there's some way that them people, handicapped people, need to get in just for a temporary parking
oh,
for
so
that
now
purpose
we're
only.
going from no parking to, depending what the situation is.
No parking for other than special need people. For the bus to unload or load or unload.
You want to designate it as a loading area.
Which would be right in front of the door where that ramp is now, or beyond that point, south of there?
I don't know, I gotta go look at it.
So you want to designate loading only in that first parking place there?
I mean, we could do that.
Something needs to be done there.
We could
That's
do
in,
that.
that's in front of the building,
And stripe it and mark it as in right in
In front
front
of
of
the
the
building.
doors.
in front of the building.
Yeah, it's in front of.
Well,
the-
the spot directly in front of the building where that ramp is, that's not a parking spot there anyway, that's just a small area. The actual parking spot moves just south of there, doesn't it?
Wherever 25 feet from the corner is,
Okay.
that's where it starts. Wherever that 25 feet is.
Is that at the end of that yellow line?
Actually,
Yellow marking.
yeah, 25 feet
Okay.
is where the yellow should be starting from the corner. That way.
So it's somewhere.
So part of that.
And I think the 25 feet actually takes them past their doors, probably.
Close.
So we have not ever posted that because of that reason.
I see.
So once we post it, then they will lose access to their building too. Unless you made it.
And
Right. If you designated a loading area only, and you block that off and put the blue stripes or whatever that
Right.
consists of in that area.
Right.
Blue stripe is handicap.
Well, the.
Well, that's what these people are, handicapped.
But if you put blue stripes in it, then you're saying a handicapped vehicle can park there. That means
No.
anybody with a tag can park there.
That's
It
not-
can't be blue stripes.
That's not where I'm going with this.
No, but I'm just saying blue stripes is handicapped, is what I'm saying.
I thought when you used the blue stripes in succession, if you did a blue square, that's handicap with a handicap figure in the middle.
Would it be too much?
Actually do a stripe and a block with blue, I didn't realize that was handicap
Actually,
only.
a lot of places you go to the shopping center, some of the places, some of them will do the handicap circle, some of them just go blue lines this way
Right.
with a blue perimeter. That is
So
designated.
anytime you use the color blue, that's handicap.
That's handicap.
Gotcha.
Now, if you make it a loading zone,
Do what?
I'll make it just loading zone. And, if we make it just a loading zone, would that not open the door for other type of loading vehicles? I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
Right, any kind of loading vehicle can load there. Right.
That's what I just said.
Right.
How are you going to determine which type of vehicle can sit there? Well, your dually can't sit there, but you can take a double-walled truck and sit there.
Correct.
See where I'm heading with this?
Right.
I'm not trying to argue with you, I'm just saying how you distinguish between what you're going to do with that parking place.
Well, just wait till there's a wreck and then decide.
Mary Jane, there could be a wreck at any time, and that's just,
No, it's not stupid.
I didn't say that, I said, how do you, which vehicle is going to be allowed?
Let's table that.
Table that to the next meeting, and then we'll give them.
Well,
What's the street department, was it today?
Today, on the weekends, and then there's signals that park
Because
out
I looked
there,
at it
front
before,
wheels
and
sticking
I
out.
talked.
And then
Could you
when
do
the
a time
traffic,
thing? Could you do a time thing?
See what we can.
No parking during so-and-so hours by anybody?
Give it what you do.
Right, yeah.
Like say during the day, that it would
That comes under
be
safety.
for that business.
It does.
This is,
And the same.
do they have that now anyway, that's just for them?
I don't know what time they leave.
Was there,
It's
or is
at
there
5 o'clock.
anything that they could do that this is a business from this hour, and then there's no parking after that?
Sure.
You can make it,
I do do it.
business parking only. But usually when it's business parking only, you have a time limit.
Right.
During business
5:30.
hours or whatever.
Right.
So here's the scenario.
Same scenario.
At 5:35, I
Right.
pull my building in there, what are you
Right.
gonna do?
Right.
Or even in one of your customers, it says business, what business? It's parking.
Well,
If you're
I mean,
somebody's
It's
there, you
it's a situation.
Right.
But I don't know that you cure it by just designating what type of vehicle can sit there. If you want to cure it, put no parking, period there.
That'll
But you're
work.
not going to make them people in that building very happy.
And you have to be careful how you do it.
I mean, they do a lot of business there, and you're not going to make them very happy if you say, nowhere in front of your building can you park. It's a dilemma, I agree.
One spot is not gonna hurt anybody.
Well, we'll see what they think about it. We'll go ask them how they like for to lose their parking in front of the front doors. So we'll see what they say, but I can tell you,
That's the way to put it.
as a business owner, I would be upset if you took away my parking from my front.
Especially since they have a lot of handicapped people there, and they need to be in and out of there.
All right, we've had a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye,
Aye.
and we will address it. We'll go look at it.